Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of the season 2 of the Growth Invitation. As you know, in this season, I am so committed to bringing you powerful females from all around the world, sharing their stories of challenges and of growth so that you know that you're going to be inspired by listening to this episode. Whatever you're going through right now, whatever you've experienced, and whatever your starting point is, we just want you to know that you can always choose to grow and manifest your dream future. So today I am super excited to bring on Rockstar to have a conversation with me. Hi, Rockstar.
Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, or night, wherever anybody is at. Hello.
Hi, I am so excited for our conversation today. We've got a massive topic to talk about. But before we go into it, I would love for you to do a quick introduction to yourself.
Sure. So I'm actually just gonna read my professional bio like in third person so I can just get it out and then anything extra you'll see throughout the podcast. Okay. Jessica Rockstar Thompson is an experienced real estate professional, transformational coach, and entrepreneur. She's also an active duty spouse, U.S. Air Force intelligence analyst veteran, and she is skilled in researching, life planning, and executing connection systems. That's a lot. Rockstar is a dynamic business professional who earned her Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration with specializations in both marketing and banking and finance from West Liberty State College in West Virginia. She earned her Florida real estate license in 2015 and has managed short-term and long-term rentals in Northwest Florida Panhandle market for over 5 years. She spent her career in entrepreneurship as a party plan sales rep, a direct sales distributor, and a network marketer, a landlord and an Airbnb superhost, a real estate agent, and a transformational coach. Jack of all trades, master of none. Just kidding. Rockstar is the owner of Rockstar Things, a collection of businesses she has invested in over the years. She's certified in transformational coaching, real estate coaching, fitness training. Rockstar Jess enjoys spending time with her family and fur babies, going on adventures with her loved ones, and creating connections in all the ways possible to create a life by choice, not chance. That's a lot of words. So, what I say in my little 30-second meet is I am a transformational connection specialist or expert and coach in helping people connect the dots to get to the next best version of themselves, whatever way that would be.
I love that. And as you were sharing your bio, I'm literally like thinking, wait, what age did you start? What age did you start working?
Oh, thank you.
Literally the amount of accolades you've got, the achievements that you've done already, it's incredible. But as we literally know, right, with so Rockstar is another peer of mine from Lisa Nichols'
Mm,
certification program. And so, every single person that I bring on has incredible accolades and so many achievements, and Rockstar is no exception.
thank
As you
you.
heard from her bio, I'm literally thinking, wait, that must have been like, let's count backwards. How many years does that take?
Thank you. We forget too until you hear things, what we've accomplished along the way, especially, well, exactly what you said, I hear your accolades. And I believe I introduced you for our final like stand and deliver in CTDP. So I had to read your bio to introduce you. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. We don't even get to talk that much. So I love that you're still like cultivating the environment and keeping the community going of like-minded individuals that are in alignment for life, like all about growth, right? Your podcast has the most perfect name. And what an absolute like right on time episode is this going to be? I can feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. And I do remember it was part of our exam for passing, and it was
Mm,
literally scary to write, but
it's
also a bit
scary.
like almost overwhelming to hear my own bio, I guess our own bios, right? When we listen
Mm,
to these things. But I mean, it kind of like links really nicely into actually what we're going to be talking about because with along with these really long bios comes a lot of pressure. It
mhm.
comes with a lot of expectations, and when people hear it, they're like, "Oh, you're this, that, and the other." Or when we're writing it, we're trying to put our best foot forward.
Mhm.
But how do we uphold all of that, especially during the holiday season?
Mhm.
Especially during a time when we're supposed to be celebrating. We're told we're celebrating. We're told, it's a happy time and it's a magical time of Christmas. And for you guys in the US, it's Thanksgiving. But what if we don't have the ones we love close to us?
Right.
So, in the pre-chat before we jumped on to recording, you were sharing with me that your story. So, I'd love for you to actually share it with the audience.
Um, so it's let's see. Every year, through the holidays, I personally have had experience with seasonal defective disorder. SAD. I didn't even know it was a real thing until I was in Alaska. I was actually stationed in Alaska for after I finished basic training and then technical training. I had a 7 month long technical training because I was Air Force intelligence. And so by the time I got to Alaska, it's dark a lot of the year up there. I mean, it actually gets to where we only have 4 hours per day of sunlight. And seasonal SAD, seasonal affective disorder, is like not having enough light for your body to make the vitamin D that it needs, right? Like through the winter, we're actually encouraged to up our vitamin D intake because of it to offset it if you're in anywhere where it's dark. I mean, even in Florida, well, when I was young, when I was in Alaska, I was 20. Well, I say young. We're still young, but 20 years younger, right? I would tan. I would go to the tanning bed, and I didn't stay in for like 30 minutes and bake, but I would go in, and essentially, you would sit under a light or a lamp. They have a seasonal affective disorder light specifically that would put off certain rays, or you could go to the tanning bed. So I would do that. And so I say all of that to say, there's a history and a pattern of not feeling the greatest in the fall months. Then add in because when I mentioned that about Alaska time in my life, didn't have I was single when it first started. And it just came, was like, oh, you're really sad. Here's something that can happen because we're in Alaska and you don't get enough sunlight. So I was like, okay, well, then you add a husband and children and, the things that we do through the holidays put pressure on to have a great time. My mom, pretty traditional. All the holidays would cook magnificent meals. Food is a love language in my family on my mom's side, both sides actually. Um, I get being a foodie very honestly as I say that because I love food. But so we get together and we would eat, right? Or any activity around the holidays, we're together, period. And then you get people together, and who doesn't want to eat when you're together? I do, even if we have a little, like if we could eat for these podcast sessions, I would just to keep the time going and entertain. Like, why not? However, when I joined the military, there was distance. It was harder to get home during the holidays. Then create a family. I met my husband and we started a family and I didn't get to go home for all the holidays. And so that on top of not having the best experience in the fall just because of not getting all the vitamins that we normally get in the sunlight and things like that, like it's a long session of what I call grief. And
Mm.
it doesn't just mean grief as in somebody died, so I'm grief stricken. For me, I put it in like I'm grieving that Sunday dinner that I used to have with my mom on the weekends, or Easter when we would have the ham and the Easter, the deviled eggs, or for Christmas, we would have hamburger turkey and Thanksgiving and all the events, and you bring the food and you get together. And so I learned this many years ago with the military because my husband's were actually down to today's the 8th of December, 31 days in December. I think we have 52 days left in the United States Air Force he has. So, and will
Oh,
be
wow.
retired. So, sorry for that little squirrely math distraction. That's very exciting. So 20 years we've been away from our family though, throughout the year, right? And you grow up
Wow.
with a certain, I know you had mentioned your, New Year tradition, and I definitely want you to talk about that, but we were essentially around our families for all these years growing up. And then we join the military and you can't get home and you create or start your new family and you want your traditions, but the grief from missing the relationship that used to be there or the event that used to be there, like every single Christmas Eve that I can remember forever, forever, forever on yeah, the 24th we would meet for my mom's side, so my maternal side, every single Christmas Eve and have dinner and open like two presents. And then every Christmas Day, I might get to go see, my parents were divorced. I might get to go see my dad's family, but I was home with my mom. We would go home and have our own Christmas at our house. But like, I mean, we did that. I didn't leave for the military until I was like 22. So we did that for until I was 22. And then you go and you're growing up and all these traditions that you had, they don't leave you. They don't leave your essence, your body. You at one point I would say I embodied the family experience on Christmas Eve. We talked
Mm.
a lot in our course about embodiment, and that was connection. And so I have tried for years and years to have conversations during this time with other people like yourself to help get the word out there on the pressure that we put on ourselves through the holidays. And I would love to invite people to add a bit of growth by giving themselves some grace through this holiday period around grief, acknowledging it, having the awareness. Is it about a person? My dad died in July. My aunt died a couple years ago around Thanksgiving. My uncle was right around this time as well. Like COVID took a lot of people out around this time. So why we have these magical holidays that you mentioned, or this magic that we're responsible for, whoever the parent is, the male, the female, the patriarch of the family, matriarch of the whatever, there's expectations around it to provide a certain experience, and it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with that pressure to be lifing, to have the grief from missing the relationship or the event or the human, the conversation. I mean, food. What if somebody that were super close to was in charge of, my aunt brought hobo beans to every single, it was a recipe of all different kinds of beans that she would put together and hamburger meat. It was sweet. And she brought them to every holiday event. Like we knew Aunt
Mm.
Susie was bringing the hobo beans, and there's no more hobo beans.
Mm.
That that leaves a hole.
Mm. Yeah, it really does. And how can we navigate through that and still push through and have the expectation of go, we have to make it really magical, we have to
Yes.
like do it this way, we have to do it that way. And I've actually never thought about it in this way because in our family, we don't really celebrate Christmas because as a Chinese family, we more celebrate the Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
But I do remember having grown up in the UK, my mom and my brothers would always be like, okay, yeah, let's make an effort. Let's have some turkey and we'll do like a whole entire roast and everything. And just because we also love food and we're
Yeah.
also foodies. And I remember that. And I think even now, for some strange reason, I'm trying to replicate it. I'm trying to replicate and follow the recipes that we would have when I was a kid. My partner's Italian, so he might do what his mom would cook, and then, but it doesn't feel the same when just two of us in the house. And but we can't go home because his family's in Italy, my family's in Hong Kong. It's far. We don't have the holiday to take or whatever it may be. We just don't. And even like for Chinese New Year as well, I'm not going home, and it just feels like, yeah, you're right. Like there is a hole that like we maybe try to cover, or
Mm.
there's a way to kind of like think about, okay, so back then this was what's happened, so let me try and do it, let me try and get as close as possible to do it, maybe try and replicate the recipe. But it's, as everyone knows, the recipes can never quite be the same because the person brings their own essence into it.
Right.
And I see a lot of people, especially around this time, like the expectations to, if you have children, it's about to create the best experience for the children, take them to
Mm.
this place, that, keep
Mm.
them entertained. And then who's hosting what, when, where, how much food, how many presents do we need to get, depending on how many children you have. Like, it is a lot. And I think especially for women, we have a tendency to internalize this,
Mhm.
to make it our responsibility for everyone, to make it a, and this is not to really stereotype, right? But it's just our genetic makeup enables us to internalize the feelings and feels emotions a lot more.
Yeah.
And then so we go, okay, but so when we grieve, we probably feel it more. Or but then we have no, where do we express it? Where
Well,
can we
and
express it?
that's what I was going to say about your recipe. And that's so perfect because what I tie that to, and this is what I would encourage people to do. I may, no, I'm sure they're right under the surface, so tears are coming, but they're just good, right? It's just good to talk about it. It feels really good to me, honest, Miss Jeanette, that you're willing to have these conversations. What I would like to highlight is that what you're doing when you go to recreate the recipe is honor that moment that meant so much to you, or the person that made it, right? Or the experience that we had, the involvement, the connection. It's connection. Right? The connection that we had in that moment that made us feel so good. Whether we felt loved or safe or chosen. My aunts would make cream filled cupcakes for me because I love food and I'll be a little glutton on those. They were delicious. But they would make certain foods for me. And it's like processed sugar. It's good. You put it in your mouth, whatever. But the love, because they made it for me, or you know what I mean? You're like,
Yeah.
so, so I like to, or what has helped me is to not focus on getting back the exact same flavor of the recipe that was made at the time that you're thinking of, because it's not that it's right the way that you made it or wrong the way that you made it. It's just different.
Hmm.
And when you think about it as just being different, you can say, okay, well, what is the flavor of this that I tried to create with this template in mind, but added some of my own little Jeanette juice? Like however you got it to fix up, but you're honoring that that feeling that you had or that closeness that you wanted. And like that's what it's about at the holidays. It's not about the money. I want to play that song. So it's not about the money from Jessie J, and I
Yeah.
do play
Yeah.
I play it often to remind us, but it's about being together. It's about the connection of the love connection, the kindness connection, whatever makes you feel warm and fuzzy during the holidays that you would even want to go back to a moment to recreate it, and
Hmm.
focusing on new traditions. The traditions aren't right or wrong. They're just different than we
Hmm.
grew up with, right? And so it's like giving ourselves grace. And then when you're navigating maybe seasonal affective disorder or grief, because, you know, my husband's parents are gone. So he doesn't have anybody, And then you said like you and your spouse, like it can be like a small gathering, but you're used to a big gathering. And then it's like, well, why does it feel flat? Why do I feel different? It's okay to feel different, but then if you can fill that space with your own tradition and
Mm,
somewhat even of like okay, well, we used to do this. We don't have to do this exact thing, but we could take this piece of it and this piece of make your own, a new
mm,
one. But giving grace where the expectation isn't that you have to do all these magical things. Again, the presents and the money and the all the food. Like if we simplify it and it's like, hey, we did more of like getting together versus presents, presents, presents. Because we're in a society where we want it, we click and get it. What can you get me
yeah,
that I don't already have?
yeah, yeah, totally. I think a lot of it is we, and it really struck me when you said that you grew up with a specific tradition for 22 years. Some of us more, some of us less. But if you've been brought up with your family for at least, I mean, let's go like 16 years, right? The
Yeah.
same thing, or minimum 16 years, or 18 years, that is a pattern and a structure and
Yeah.
a almost like a belief system, like this is how Christmas should be, or this is how
Yes.
this time should be.
Yeah.
And this is what it's supposed to taste like, feel like, smell like, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's embedded into our bodies and into our systems.
Yeah.
But you're so right in saying it is the connection actually that we really treasure and we love. But it's the connection that we have made in our minds about a specific smell, about a food, or about
Mm.
something. Like when I get really homesick, which I still do, I miss my family. I see them maybe once a year, if that. Um, I love to eat rice because I remember when I would come home from school or I'd go back to grandma's, there's always the smell of rice. And then so I'm like, that is my food. So it's that association. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever we like, and to add on top of what you're sharing as well, is whenever we feel like we're in a bit of an overwhelm or stressful situation like the holidays, like in grief, or, rather than trying to analyze it and structure it and like be like this is exactly how it should be and plan and do all of these things, it's about pausing and tapping into our bodies, tapping into our own hearts,
Yeah.
and then feeling that moment, honoring that moment for what it was, is in your memory, and then go, okay, with love, how can I move forward?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
with and how can I continue that? I mean, like my parents are still here, they're just in Hong Kong, but it's still that, but it's like I see them getting older every time I see them.
Mm.
And it's like it's almost like I can never get back those days when
Mm-mm.
I can I can be the kid and I can rely on them, and there is that certain element. And I think with all of this is, especially the holiday season, maybe people have lost a loved one. I lost my uncle earlier this year. Maybe it's we are grieving, like you said, that a specific moment in time
Mm.
or season that we really breathe through it, give ourselves the space.
And by setting the example, even having these conversations, I feel like is a big deal because the ripple effect of the awareness that comes around it, like, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Now that I know why I'm, uh, okay, for instance, speaking on the rice, do you ever have a day where you're like maybe not I don't know, feeling the greatest. Maybe you're sad, or maybe you have the sniffles, and you're like, oh, well, this is what I used to have when I was younger. This will help me feel better, right? Or like I have sweatshirts and sweaters and stuff because I'm from backwoods West Virginia and it's cold up there. And then like I'm now in Florida, right? But it's hot all the time here, except for right now, and I'm a baby because it's 55 and I feel like I'm freezing. But anyways, back on track. Squirrel moment. I'll put on my brother's um when he went to basic training. They got the training camp or whatever hoodies, right? So it's like 20 years old. And I'm missing him and I'll put that on. And so it could be a piece of clothing or a blanket. But I make hot tea often. I love hot tea. It reminds me of my mom. And I try to have it every day. I'm my well, you have different situations like wherever anybody's parents are or whatever, but like when you realize what you're craving is connection and the closeness, you can help others do that, And then, and like for me, I have two sons. They're a junior and a freshman in high school, so 14 and 17. And we have our own traditions, but I make sure that I highlight, hey, this is what Mama would make. My dad sends us Omaha steaks. So I'm like, he would love to grill out. This is what my dad loves, like different things like that. And again, I keep talking about food, so it like brings us together. But I love the fact of that we're having a conversation and normalizing grief, first of all. And then in the different ways that it shows up, whether it's a relationship or the heartbeat that you're missing, or and here's a step further. We could have a whole conversation just about grief, I feel like, because I've been in it the past year and 2 years, Miss Wong. But what about grieving what could have been
Mm,
if you wanted to make amends with someone, or you had intended to spend that next holiday with them and they're gone?
mm, mm,
Or, you know, there's a falling out and it used to be this way and this is the way the relationship went, but now there's no way you can ever get back there. Like there's different ways to look at it, and people were so complicated, but then not. We're not. It all comes down to wanting to be chosen and wanting to be seen and wanting to be loved, right? Ultimately, love.
mm.
That's the way I believe. It might be naive, but that's the way I choose to believe. And I just think that, like, it's really important for everybody to give themselves grace and understand that frustration comes from unmet expectations. And if you set your expectations of, I'm going to do what I'm going to do and it's going to be okay, we're going to be fluid and flexible, here we go. And then just take it as it's easier instead of being like, oh my God, I have to have the dinner done at this time and we have to have, this meal and each kid has to have this many presents and we spend this much money and I got to start this. And I'm not knocking any way, shape, or form that anybody does do their things. If that's what gets you through, then amen. Like, do it. I would just like to offer the idea that we can give ourselves and others grace during this time and understand that I honestly think that everybody's in some stage of grief. I mean, I miss the way that my girlfriends and I used to be able to hang out after school and go to the pool and like do nothing. Now I got
Yeah.
kids and dogs and a house and all these responsibilities. Like I miss my youth and my innocence.
I totally get that. I totally get that. And, I think one thing that's really important that you shared as well is, apart from the connection part, it's about that feeling of being chosen and love from someone. Like, if we are missing someone
Mm,
or we really want to connect, offer that first. Offer
yeah.
that to someone, and then automatically you feel connected, automatically you feel love. Um, I think there is so much power in being able to give in this season, in every season, but this season especially, but in a way that comes through from our heart, not
Yeah.
because this is, I have to do this. I have to get a
Right.
present. I have to do like whatever. That's where I feel like the grace really, it's a powerful, powerful way to navigate through this. Grace through for ourselves, grace for everyone else, and just looking at everything from the depths of our heart and with love,
Mm,
um, rather than from lack and what's missing, what's not there. It's,
right.
and with genuine celebrations of wow, isn't this incredible? Um, I feel like that's really powerful in the way that we can actually do that. And I know we're coming out to time, but I really want to share like a very short thing, um, which is I heard from my friend that when she was really struggling with her, like she was financially, her and her partner were really, really struggling. She literally had like a pound, one pound in her pocket. And for Christmas, she gave her partner his favorite packet of crisps. Like, that's it. That's it.
And
And
it was enough.
and that's enough because with it came everything she had, but also all the love.
Right.
And they're like the most incredible couple together, and really admire their relationship, their strengths, their resilience through everything that they've been through. But also just that story alone just makes me think, if we, as we navigate through this, lessen the expectations on ourselves, lessen the expectations
Mm,
on everyone,
yeah.
and give from our hearts, like, what would actually that look like?
Right. Right. Mm.
So before we close, I would love to ask you if there's anything, like if there's one tip or piece of advice specifically. I mean, we shared a lot on this episode, but if there's one piece of advice that you would love the audience to remember, to take away specifically about navigating this season, navigating grief, navigating expectations, what would that be?
Hmm. So I adopt many different mantras for the seasons that I'm in, and I said it a few minutes ago, but I would like to highlight it because it's become it's become really important to me. We run on Lisa Nichols's campus, and since I was promote chosen as speaker advocate coach, I work a lot with the incoming students, and it's it's really if we were to apply to life what we would an event. You have a run of show, right? With Lisa, we always have the run of show. That's where I was leading with the events in the back. And okay, she's a keynote speaker. So with Lisa, we don't call it the run of show. We call it the run of suggestion because it changes constantly. She is the one of the most challenging people in such a good way. Not in like people call me challenging and I think it's equivalent to confrontational. Lisa is going to push us to our boundaries and our bring our butterfly out to our best self. So, it's run of suggestion. And I would say to the point of what would I leave with anybody, if we look at our life as a random show, we're scheduling things, we're doing this, we're forward thinking, school, you know what I mean? Like get off the bottle, get out of diapers, get into pre-K, get it, you know what I mean? Like forward thinking. Let's start way back. It would be fluid and flexible where you can flow And then you have the flexibility to, okay, it didn't go this way. Well, why not? What's meant for you will never miss you. I have a lot of them I could tie in right to this all at one, right? So what's meant for you will never ever miss you. It's always right on time. Now, for somebody who's habitually late, don't use that to your advantage as an excuse. Value other people's time. But be fluid and flexible and understand that it is a run of suggestion. Whatever you have going on in your life, or however you've planned it out, it's a suggestion to do it that way. When you're flexible, you can pivot and move and then flow the way you're supposed to go. So that's it. I mean, I could continue on, like I said. Like, my next one is trust the traveler, not the terrain, because the last time you failed yourself is only never. And if you have 100% success rate and 100% survival rate of everything you've already attempted, what are you waiting for? I
Oh,
should talk to
I
myself like
love
that.
that. What an incredible way to end this episode. There is so much we can take, and I'm watching the replay. Hey, everyone, make sure you watch the replay. There is so much to take from that, but exactly like you said, we have never ever failed ourselves. We have never ever failed anyone. We have never ever failed at life. We are still here. We are still living. We are still alive. If you're watching and listening to this episode, I am very sure of it. So whatever it is that you're experiencing, or whatever you experience over this period, over this holiday season, please, please, please give yourself grace
Yeah.
and go with it from love.
Yeah. Ah, perfect. Right on time. I put it up right before you said that. Go with it with love.
As if on cue. Well, thank you so much, Rockstar, for coming on and sharing so much with us and being an incredible guest so vulnerably and so honorably as well. Thank you for taking your time today. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us and watching this episode. We would love to hear from you. If there's any thoughts that you have, any similar experiences that you might want to share, or anything you want to take away from what we've discussed today, please let us know in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And on that note, thank you so much once again, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Thank you.